Hello thrill seekers, this is Backpack, and today we're gonna delve into the era of the gold rush, cowboys, Indians, and brave adventurers like you and me. Let's begin our journey into the Wild West with Saguaro National Park. This natural wonder is set in the Sonoran Desert near Tucson. This desert is an iconic place deeply rooted in American culture. Many movies such as Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas and Kill Bill were set here, as well as classic westerns like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Imagine the picture: a rolling field, vultures circling in the skies, and howling coyotes on the horizon. I bet you're whistling that tune in your head right now. But the main celebrities of the park are not cowboys, but giant saguaro cacti, which can reach 20 meters in height, weigh up to 2 tons, and live for up to 200 years. For many, they have become a symbol of the American West. I bet you've seen them many times in movies and pictures. But seeing a saguaro cactus in person is different. It's an unforgettable experience. Their shape and height are truly impressive, especially in the light of the setting sun, when they look like people with outstretched arms, casting mysterious shadows. Precisely because of their human form, they were revered by the Indians, who believed that bad people turn into cacti and are forever frozen under the scorching sun. Now imagine 2 million frozen giants stretching 370 square kilometers to the horizon. However, the saguaro is not just about cacti. For thousands of years, the area has been home to indigenous tribes who lived in unity with the desert. As a reminder of their presence, they left impressive examples of rock art known as petroglyphs. You can see over 200 petroglyphs which the Hohokam tribe carved into the rocks in the blazing sun more than 1,500 years ago. It is surprising how they have survived to this day, given that they are not in a cave. The secret of these ancient artists lies in the special varnish of the desert rock, which they use to color the stones, and which preserve their paintings for centuries. There is a sign here asking visitors not to get too close to the petroglyphs, as they are a protected cultural treasure. But there is another reason for this too. Rattlesnakes like to hide in the stones. Usually they don't attack people, but just to be on the safe side, if you hear a rattle, run. It's not surprising that the ancient Indians chose this very place for their settlement. After all, the saguaro cactus was sacred to them. They used its fruit to make syrups, liqueurs, and food, while the inner part of the trunk, which looks like wood, was even used to build their houses. Saguaro Park consists of an east and west part, with the city of Tucson in the middle. The eastern part has more mountains with stunning views. It is considered a great place for epic hikes. Its long, winding trails stretch for 266 kilometers through dried-up riverbeds, canyons, and valleys, reaching mountain peaks of 2,500 meters. Not just daring mountain hikers, but also astronomy enthusiasts and even ordinary road romantics come here, because the clear skies and dry climate make it an ideal place for stargazing. A mesmerizing starry sky that can only be seen in the desert awaits you here. So should we return to civilization? Let's continue our journey and stop in Tucson. This is a modern oasis in the heart of the Sonoran Desert, surrounded by 5 mountain ranges and a sea of giant cacti. Here, the sun shines 350 days a year, and the air and skies are considered some of the cleanest. You want to know what the Wild West looks like today? Well, welcome to Tucson, Arizona. It was originally inhabited by the Pima Indians for thousands of years. They named the area Tucson, which means at the foot of the Black Mountain, and is thought to be a reference to Santa Catalina Mountains lying to the northeast. Back then, Tucson was just a small settlement lost among the dusty prairies. But all that changed with the arrival of the Spanish colonists in 1775, who built the city around Fort St. Augustine. It served as a base for the defense of Spanish soldiers and missionaries against the Indians, and its remains still exist to this day. As a reminder of the time, there is also the Church of St. Augustine. Its architecture, stained glass windows, and interior reflect the influence of Spanish culture and Catholic faith. Tucson then became part of the Mexican Empire, before later passing to the United States. Then, gold was discovered in the vicinity, and adventurers from all corners of the world streamed here in search of wealth. Among them, cowboys played a particularly important role because Tucson was in the path of drifting cattle and served as a center for their trade. They protected the herds from theft and delivered them to markets. So Indians, Spaniards, Mexicans, cowboys, and gold diggers mingled, creating an atmosphere of romance and tension. In this great amalgamation, a unique multicultural heritage was born, which can still be felt in Tucson today. This, for example, is the old Mexican neighborhood. Look at these houses that retain their Mexican character. Some are over 150 years old, and many have been restored and turned into stores, art galleries, and cafes. This is where you can taste authentic Mexican food. And here we have El Tiradito, a shrine where people come to pray and ask for the granting of wishes and protection from misfortune. It has become a symbol of heartbreak, comfort, and hope because of the story of a Mexican man who was once murdered here for forbidden love. Nearby stands the magnificent, historic Pima County Courthouse, built in 1929. It is younger than its famous counterparts, but it also blends harmoniously into the landscape of Tucson's historic landmarks, contributing a unique atmosphere to the city. On the streets of Tucson, you can literally trace the passage of time to the present day. It has evolved into a modern city with a youthful vibe thanks largely to the University of Arizona, which is one of the biggest in the country. Young people bring a fresh perspective, as reflected in the city's unique street art. Today's Tucson is known for its bright and varied murals, which can be seen all over the city. More than 100 huge graffiti pieces adorn the walls of the buildings, turning it into a veritable open-air museum. And of course, the famous cacti follow us everywhere, like silent guards, reminding us that the desert is always around us. The saguaro cactus has become an integral part of Arizona's culture and life, and a patron of sorts for Tucson, as the embodiment of its strength and uniqueness. I hope you've enjoyed our trip to Tucson and Saguaro National Park, but it's time for us to head farther east to the state of New Mexico, where more adventures await us. But before we leave, let's take one last look at a huge private aviation museum on the outskirts of Tucson, which has over 400 different exhibits set across 80 acres. Among them are some truly unique aircrafts. For instance, the futuristic B-22 is like something straight out of Star Wars. Or there's the mythical black bird from Patrol X. You can even climb into some of them and feel like a pilot. Welcome aboard. Let's go. Next stop, New Mexico. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a like and click on the bell if you don't want to miss my next adventure. I'll see you around, world travelers.